Aquarius workshop, the illusory fear of moving. I start with a quote from Pathwork Lecture 167 with the title Frozen Life Center Becomes Alive. And the quote is as follows. The fear of moving can be asserted relatively easily once you question yourself in this respect. Once you cease to explain things away and you confront yourself with simple questions and answers in this respect, you will be easily aware of your fear of moving. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 167. Life is mobility in relaxation on a physical, mental and emotional level. We keep the body moving so that the flow of energy can permeate an entire physical system. We keep our mind moving by expanding it with new views. We keep feelings moving by learning to express them and feel them so that they can transform into original loving feelings. Mobility in relaxation is a harmonious combination of passive and active forces so that they are guided in a constructive manner through the correct energy channels. With that attitude, we fully trust and surrender to the higher self. Then we know, in every cell of our body, that we are supported by a loving, caring, safe and just universe. We take responsibility for setbacks and accept them without pessimism or negativity and with a healthy, positive attitude. However, if we live in the illusory fear of moving, we may find contradictions within ourselves. On the one hand, we fight against the spiritual laws through self-willed struggles to avoid having to accept anything that is difficult. And on the other hand, we keep our feelings frozen by not moving for fear of both the warm feelings and the distorted emotions. Facing ourselves gently teaches us that rebellion, self-pity, and the tendency to flee from difficulties are caused by fear, pride, and self-will. Isn't it self-will to resist inwardly? Isn't it pride to reject the lessons life teaches us? Courageously embracing difficulties as the necessary medicine required for our developmental process will transform the illusory fear of moving into the enjoyment of mobility in relaxation. By mobility in relaxation with balanced and peaceful soul movements, the life force can flow unobstructed and there is no more pain or conflict. In this workshop you will explore with a loving curiosity 3 fundamental themes of the Pathwork Lectures regarding the illusory fear of moving. The first theme. Disturbed movement is hyperactive or apathic. At the level of duality, active movement and passive relaxation seem to be opposites, and activity cannot provide rest, and passivity cannot provide strength. Hyperactivity, agitation, forcing currents, and painful tensions arise when the overly strong ego forces the active current through the energy channel intended for the passive current. And when the passive force is used unhealthy by the weak ego and channeled through the active energy channel, there arises apathy, non-movement, helplessness and lack of energy. The next quote is from Pathwork Lecture 135. Calmly observe what emanates from your own psychic forces, and you will find a distortion of movement in which you stagnate because non-movement seems so tempting. It appears to be the effortless state that the soul longs for, or movement seems so necessary in order not to stagnate, and because guilt whips you into a striving over tense movement. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 135. Second theme, organic soul movements. Soul movements are energy flows of positive or negative feelings, thoughts or attitudes. Negative soul movements will automatically either stagnate or move overstressed as a result of misconceptions and images. These sharp, hard, discordant soul movements, caused by hatred, fear, greed, selfishness, childish dependence, pride and self-will, are tense and cramped and block the flow of life. Cramped soul movements are not only exhausting and painful, but they also form a negative electromagnetic energy field that creates unhappy living conditions. When we choose organic, balanced soul movements, we relax into what is. The next quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 241. When the organic movement is being denied, an imbalance often accrues. The movement denied, where it is appropriate and part of the growing organism, seeks an outlet and then manifests as a compulsion to move where this is not appropriate and organic. For example, a person rigidly holds on to a defensive, obsolete attitude, does not want to give it up, let it go, and he stagnates inwardly as a result of it. Consequently, a compulsive restlessness may develop that may manifest as an inability to be still, to be totally there, to follow through with anything, to have perseverance. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 241. The third and last theme, mobility in relaxation. Any truth distorted as a result of a misconception turns into untruths and splits into two irreconcilable opposites with a hyperactive and an apathetic aspect. For example, when love is distorted, love turns into lovelessness and splits into hyperactive hostility and apathetic fear. Or, when as a result of feelings of inferiority, we forcefully, hyperactively, demand recognition from others by making an impression, then at the same time there is helplessness, apathetic attitude in which we do not take responsibility for an inner sense of self-worth. This inner conflict between movement and relaxation exists on a physical, mental and emotional level. Our job is to move through this duality and transform those irreconcilable contradictions into mobility in relaxation. The last quote stems from Pathwork Lecture 135. As you proceed in reorienting your thus far unconscious, but recently having become conscious concepts, values, understanding of life and yourself and your relationships to life and to yourself, to that extent, as a natural result, the movement begins to harmonize with the great cosmic flow. Mobility in relaxation comes more and more into being. End of quote from Pathwork Lecture 135. I wish you peace and all the best. Thank you.